Hello, my name is Ben Lee, and this segment is called Educated on Education. Thanks for being with me on this Valentine's Day night. Either you're watching this next to the person you cherish the most in this world, or Pornhub servers are down. The story for tonight is about our new Secretary of Education and woman behind you in the Starbucks line that complains about the barista's hijab, Betsy DeVos. A week ago, she was sworn in as the Trump administration's Secretary of Education, despite heavy controversy and an extremely contentious vote that was only broken in her favor by Vice President Mike Pence, which, by the way, was the first time a vice president ever had to break the tie when confirming a new cabinet member in 2 centuries. So Mike Pence, if you're listening now, congratulations for mattering for the first time. Now, in case you've been bunkered in for the last few weeks, I wouldn't blame you after November 8th. You might have missed the recent scandal concerning Trump's cabinet picks. On November 23rd of last year, President excuse me, Trump announced that his pick for the next Secretary of Education would be Elizabeth D. DeVos, an American-born businesswoman, philanthropist, and a wealthy contributor to the Republican Party. Now, let me explain my problem with a person like Betsy DeVos in such a high political office overlooking our children's educational future. It's not that she's part of the opposite political party that I support, but her history, or rather lack of history, within the public education realm. Almost all of the previous 10 education secretaries has at least a prior position working with public education, or at least has a definite position concerning the education welfare of this country. Betsy DeVos has absolutely no real experience teaching a class, running a school administration, and has raised many eyebrows when Tim Kaine asked her during her confirmation hearing whether she supported equal accountability for all public charter and private K-12 schools that receive federal funding. All she would say was, "I support accountability." Even when Kaine prompted her directly, "Do you want to answer this question?" she stood her position of, "I support accountability." She was like the worst Sheriff Woody doll imaginable. Every time you pull the string, she says the same damn thing. Worst Christmas present ever. And what's worse about that segment from the hearing is that she continued to sport the same eating grin and bobbed her head like it's a Nickelback mosh pit. She was like, "I support accountability. I support accountability." No! That isn't what America's least favorite uncle is asking you. Answer the f***ing question. It's a yes or no question. Now, what is even more concerning regarding that debacle is why she was avoiding that question. If you do the research, you would find out that DeVos fully supports charter schools and vouchers. Now, what that means is that she'll be taking taxpayer money from public schools and putting them into private schools without raising or at least keeping the same level of accountability for them. This means that all public schools are literally going to go back to wooden boards and charcoal sticks. And you thought Detroit was bad now. Imagine colonial Detroit. This doesn't even meet global standards of education, let alone our national standards. Even Syria is going online and is like, this is bad. Now let me continue discussing how utterly clueless this woman is in leading the Department of Education. Part of the federal policy is to measure how well schools are doing. DeVos's job will be to improve how well students are doing. This is either done by proficiency, which is how well students do on tests and so forth. Essentially, it's a grade. On the other hand, you can also measure it by growth, which is how much students develop during their time in school. And it seems that DeVos doesn't comprehend the fundamental difference between the two. When asked about whether she would measure students' performances by proficiency or growth, she continuously stumbled on the definitions of both ways, talking about proficiency, but instead using the definition for growth. Do you not yet realize, people? She has no idea what she's doing. The next point I'd like to make is that she's willing to bring guns back into schools. She referred to a school in Wyoming as her reason why she would bring guns back in schools. She stated that guns are necessary to protect against potential grizzly attacks. She's talking about bears. Bears. Now, the school in question responded later, saying that bears were actually not a problem and that a fence and bear spray was enough. Clearly, someone's been rewatching The Revenant one too many times. Her rationale is so incomprehensible when it comes down how to protect our children. In the past year, there has only been about 3 reported bear attacks. How about shootings, huh? What do we hear more about? Bear attacks or school shootings? Betsy DeVos, you are intentionally putting the safety of our children at risk. Personally, I'd rather smell bear spray in a school than gunpowder. And you know it's bad when you realize that neither Betsy DeVos nor any of her children have ever attended a public school or have taken out a federal student loan. You realize that the Department of Education is the department that handles federal student loans. It's like you have this job opening for a managerial position at a Burger King, and you give the position to an emu. Now, does the emu have prior experience in working in food and services management? No. Does the emu even understand the concept of fast food? No. Can an emu even understand our language? No. So why would you give the position to an unqualified individual? It doesn't make any sense. Well, I think we can all figure out why. If you dig into DeVos's finances, you can see that her wealth just might have been part of the reason. According to a few reports, DeVos contributed about $200 million to the Republican Party, supporting about 20 Republicans in their campaigns, ensuring their vote when it came time to confirm her. Now we get to the biggest problem present here: money. It's all money. The DeVos family is one of the richest in Michigan. Her husband, Richard DeVos, has a net worth of $5.1 billion and was listed in Forbes as the 88th wealthiest person in America. This is really what disgusts me most about this entire story. The only thing these people care about is money. Money is what DeVos used to guarantee her position. Money is what Republicans took, despite the clear and capable hands they just gave the position of Secretary of Education to. In March of 2016, DeVos was quoted as describing Donald Trump as an interloper and believes that he does not represent the Republican Party. Money is all that matters. Have some values, people. Have a moral background. Stand for something you believe in. Stop thinking about yourselves and think about the people who voted for you. You are representatives of the people of the United States of America, the great country that we all live in as brothers and sisters. Act like it. Now, on the bright side, a House Republican introduced a bill to Congress that would abolish the entire Department of Education. So if that passes, Betsy DeVos, congratulations on steering this Titanic down to the watery depths of state government. I'm Ben Lee, and this segment was called Educated on Education. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, America.